Conversation right here on ENC, and we're talking about the price of just about everything, which is rising. Most South Africans are struggling to just get by, and our personal finance guru, Maya Fisher-French, joins us now with some cost-saving tips. Maya, good morning to you. Thank you so much for your time this morning. Let's start here where we know that most people have already made quite significant reductions already in their spending. So how do they then find the extra money that they need?
And you're so right. I mean, by now, most people have gone over their budgets, right? Because we're struggling to make ends meet. But there's another concept called just one thing. And this is cutting back just a little bit in various categories and finding a 200 Rand here, 200 Rand there, which can add up, right? Maybe 1,000 Rand, 2,000 Rand. So a good example, that takeaway coffee that we're all a little bit addicted to, if twice a week we say we're going to skip it, we'll have our coffee at home, that's 240 bucks you save. Maybe you buy food at work. Maybe once a week you take your food to work. That's 250 bucks. One of the things we've done in our household is we're now doing our laundry on cold water. You take a shower for a minute shorter and not using less hot water. You could probably lob off about 200 Rand off your electricity bill. And I must tell you, driving slower, I mentioned it, I think, last week. I've been driving slower. I have reduced my fuel consumption by a whole litre per 100 kilometers in a week, which is probably going to save me about 200 bucks a month. So if you start finding these little things, I mean, just in your grocery bill, maybe just cut back on that one thing, and all those little one things add up, and maybe suddenly you've got that extra 1,000 Rand that you kind of need right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think also retailers might need to help us. They need to store away all the goodies they put next to the till. Just when you think you're done with your groceries, there's an extra chocolate slab that you now impulsively buy, right? But on that note, how do you then make the most of these savings?
I think this is the most important part of this. Okay, we all know how to budget and not eat the chocolate at the till. But what do we do when we save this money? Because people have cut their gym subscriptions, they've cut Netflix. But I promise you, if I said to them, well, where's the money now? And they'll go, oops, I don't know. We need to identify what we're doing this for. So if I found this 1,000 Rand by cutting back here and there, what do I do with it? And you need to earmark it. The biggest thing I'm coming across right now is liquidity, or what I'd call your emergency fund. People have no savings. And that means that you get to the 20th of the month and something comes unexpectedly. What do? Credit cards, short-term loans, all that expensive credit. So I'm really encouraging people, right, if you've find that extra cash in your budget every month, rather than immediately trying to repay more debt. I know that's important, but please have liquidity. Have at least 10,000 Rand in a savings account in a bank that if you're struggling at that end of the month and you just can't make it, you're not having to go onto the credit card. Once you've got that and you're comfortable with that, then absolutely your debt's a big problem. And there you take that 1,000 Rand and you hit your smallest debt first, clear that, get onto the next one and onto the next one. But I think for me right now, I'm seeing liquidity as a big problem for people.
And also, just lastly, before I let you go then, should people be cashing in pensions just to pay for their debts?
This is unfortunately a habit people have got into, and I think it's actually a lazy solution in many ways. Start off with just one thing. If you can honestly say that you have done everything you can, you've cut the things that you can, and you are really, really going into an indebted situation and you have no choice, then look at those investments. But really to start off by saying, well, I'm just going to cash in my investments, settle the credit card and carry on living my life. You know what? You are kicking that can down the road, and the consequences of that you will feel when you get to your 50s, your 60s, and you don't have retirement funds or you don't have investments built up. So I think we need to be focusing now on reducing our cash flow so that we can keep those investments growing, so that we can allow that incredible concept of compounding to really grow our wealth for us. If we're starting to just treat that and say, oh, we'll just pay off the credit card, I promise you in 6 months' time, that credit card debt will be back. So I say, don't take the easy, lazy way out. Go, cut back one coffee less a week, drive a little slower. That's the solution, rather than cashing in your pension.
And thank you so much for this reminder, Maya Fisher-French. I appreciate you speaking to us, of course, and guiding us to making sound financial decisions.